Donald Trump has commuted the sentence of his campaign associate, Roger Stone. Roger Stone, therefore, will not be going to prison where he was scheduled to report soon. Now, there's the general discussion here, and then there's the specific discussion, and I think it makes sense to go in that order. In general, when presidents pardon people or commute their sentences, it's very common that red flags come up about connections between the presidents and the people they are pardoning or whose sentences they're commuting. Were they friends or whatever the case may be? In this case, Trump is commuting the sentence, not just of a friend to the extent that Donald Trump has friendships, but of a friend who worked to get Donald Trump elected. But it isn't just that. It's a friend whose crime was directly related to helping to get Donald Trump elected. But it's even more. The reason that Roger Stone lied in relation to his work getting Donald Trump elected was to protect Trump by hiding wrongdoing that Donald Trump may have been involved in. And in comes Donald Trump and commutes Roger Stone's sentence. This is exactly, as Republican Senator Mitt Romney, of all people, said, it is historic corruption. Roger Stone was a go-between for the Trump campaign and WikiLeaks. Roger Stone was materially involved in the Trump campaign. Roger Stone was convicted by a jury for lying to Congress to protect Donald Trump. So this is corruption. This is an abuse of power. This is a quid pro quo. Remember that phrase that Trump threw around, to stay strong? When it was Paul Manafort and Michael Cohen, Trump's former campaign chairman and former personal lawyer, who were under investigation and under indictment, Donald Trump tweeted about Manafort is staying strong. What that means is he's protecting Donald Trump. Well, Roger Stone stayed strong in that vein. He didn't roll over. He didn't talk about what Trump knew and what Trump did. And that is a quid pro quo. This is arguably a form of bribery. This is arguably an impeachable offense. Now, Trump and others will argue, and it's important to be prepared for this. They will say the president's power to pardon and commute sentences is absolute. Yeah, it's absolute in that a president can pardon whoever they want to pardon or commute the sentence of whoever they want to commute a sentence for. But that doesn't mean that it can't also be an act of corruption or a quid pro quo or a form of bribery. And only two Republicans so far have actually called this out for what it is. One is Mitt Romney, as I mentioned. Mitt Romney tweeted, quote, "Unprecedented historic corruption. An American president commutes the sentence of a person convicted by a jury of lying to shield that very president." Now, good for Mitt Romney. But remember, Romney voted to convict Trump on one impeachment count, but he voted to acquit Donald Trump on obstruction. And now Mitt Romney is indignant that Donald Trump is again obstructing. Give me a break. So I get it. Mitt Romney is saying things most Republicans aren't willing to say. But at the same time, you acquitted the guy on obstruction. You remember that, right? Then you have Republican Senator Pat Toomey, who said that the prosecution of Roger Stone was a righteous and appropriate prosecution, quoting what William Barr had to say, and that if there was a problem with this prosecution, it really should be resolved via an appeal, not by Donald Trump jumping in and commuting the sentence of Roger Stone. If Stone was treated unfairly in a real sense, we are well within the scope of time during which an appeal can be made, and it could actually be fought through the courts. So the action by Trump here is not surprising. The realization that we've come to is that until Republicans are forced to do what's right or stopped from doing what's wrong, they're going to keep doing it. And I think maybe there's not that much I have to say about Stone specifically. I think it's basically all been said. But what sometimes happens in these situations is that some on the left will start saying, should we stoop to their level? Like, are they so bad that we should resort to cheating or violence or corruption in order to get them out? Do the ends justify the means? And I don't believe so. I don't think that you can pick and choose when to play by the rules. And obviously it's horrible right now. When we see the degree to which they don't play by the rules, I understand saying we would be justified in not playing by the rules here because we have to get them out. I think that that would be the wrong instinct. I believe the path forward should be you've got to remove Trump in November, turn the Senate blue, if not this November, in November of 2022. Maybe this terror of a presidency will affect enough voters that it will sort of predispose, open up the country to accept real change if the Democratic Party gets the country back under control. I'm no fan of the Democratic Party as an institution, but, there are people who are going to seek to blame Democrats here. In fact, I've seen some so-called populists over the last week finding as much to criticize of Democrats in the context of the Trump fiasco as they find to criticize about Donald Trump himself. I think they're just wrong. The truth is, Democrats, for all of their faults, and there are many, and I talk about them all the time, Democrats tried to investigate Trump. They saw facts which pointed to impeachment being the right remedy, and they did it. It didn't matter. The Republican Party was never going to go for it. We never believed for a second that Trump was going to be convicted on impeachment, but the Democrats saw the evidence and said impeachment is the correct thing. Democrats were obstructed by the Trump administration and by Republicans at every turn. So there are plenty of critiques of the Democratic Party, and I make them all the time. But right now, deflecting blame onto the Democratic Party is the wrong move right now. It's the Republican Party under Trumpism that either participated in the attacks on the rule of law or they stood aside as Trump did it himself. And they need to be held accountable as well. That's very important. They are also to blame. And you primarily should be blaming the bad actors. So I'm not going to play coy with that the way there are some people doing. New York maybe should look at prosecuting Roger Stone. President can't pardon or commute state sentences and convictions. So on the Stone matter, that would be something to look at. But big picture, we really can't miss the forest for the trees right now.